This is a tutorial on how to make the origami tomahawk that I invented. So first, fold the paper in half vertically. Oh yeah, and start with regular printer paper. Okay, so fold the paper in half vertically. So fold this edge, this. You should get a crease in the middle. Next, hold this edge to this crease in the middle that you just made. So fold this half, the right half, into fourths, or into halves, however you look at it. Next, fold this edge to this edge. So basically, fold a triangle. Next, fold this edge to this edge, and also fold a triangle. Make sure the edges are lined up well to get an accurate fold. You should now have these creases. Turn the paper over. Now, fold the paper in half. So fold this edge to this edge. You should get a crease here. Next, fold the end of this crease, so this corner, this crease, where this crease hits this corner, this part, to where this crease hits the side of the paper, so this corner to this end of the crease. And fold this corner to this end of the crease. You should get a crease going through the middle of where these two creases intersect. Here and here should be a crease going through this point. Now turn the paper back over. Now what you want to do is push this point down and fold this part of the crease, this part of the crease, these two creases together. So bring them together and fold along these creases and these creases. So bring these 2 points together, bring them together. It should look a bit like this. Now flatten. It should look like this with 2 flaps. Now fold this flap to the left, the right flap to the left, and turn it over, and fold the right flap to the left. Turn it back over. Paper should now look something like this. Make sure you're folding, make sure the paper, the side that is facing up, is the side that has this extra flap paper here. Now, what you want to do is where this crease hits the bottom edge, you want to fold that point to the tip at the top. So you want to fold those 2 points together. So you want to fold along this line. You're gonna, when you do this, you want to bring this edge to this edge when you do that. So basically fold this part in half. As you do this, you should get a kind of triangle shape here, which will end up with a fold here and here. Now you will have this open flap here. You want to bring this line, you're going to kind of have to eyeball it, this line, so that if you drew an imaginary line, it would continue to this point where this crease hits the corner of this shape. So here. So kind of like this. Make it as accurate as you can. Next, flip the paper over and do the exact same thing. So bring this point where this crease hits the bottom edge to this tip, so bring them together. And fold this edge to this edge, so fold this part in half. So fold like so. And you will get a triangle shape again up here with crease right here. And flat. But lined up again with the imaginary line. Here, draw an imaginary line, continue this line, and try and align it with this point, with this crease hits this corner. Try and fold it as accurately as possible. Next, make sure the part of the paper that's facing upwards is the side that has this flap that is only one paper layer thick. This side is not the side you want facing upwards. It has, as you can see, 2 layers. It is 2 layers thick, whereas this side is 1. So open the side, the flap that has 1 layer up. So unfold the folds you just did on that side and bring this point upwards so it'll look like this. What you want to do is push on this point where all this stuff intersects, and you want to reverse these 2 folds. Right. Before, they were mountain folds. Here, when you push down this point, you want to make them valley folds. So fold like this. So from this to this. Now refold. Make sure you bring this flap over this flap. And flip the paper over as you do this. You should end up with this. As you can see, it's starting to look like a tomahawk. Next, what you want to do is fold this extra paper along the edge of the flaps. So like this. Unfold. Now what you want to do is tuck this flap in between the flap that's 1 layer and the flap that's 2 layers. So between the first flap that is 1 layer and the second flap that's 2 layers. So like this. And then cover it. Next, what you want to do is lift this flap and tuck these flaps under this paper. So it should look like this. Next, what you want to do is turn the paper over. It should look like this with this ridge here. This side does not have that ridge, as you can see. The tomahawk is not symmetrical. What you want to do is fold this open. The paper should look like this. Next, what you want to do is fold this edge to this edge. So fold this part in half. You should get a crease here. Next, what you want to do is fold this edge to this edge. But make sure you leave some space between this edge and this edge. If you don't, and this especially becomes a problem when you start using more papers, when you start folding things that tomahawks are more than 1 paper thick, you will end up with this flap pulling back because there's so much paper, and this flap will be will barely be tucked under this flap. So make sure you leave some space between this edge and this edge. Also, if you fold it from more than 1 paper, you'll be able to throw it better and will fly better. It will also be stronger and more durable. Alright, now that you have folded these sides like this, just fold it in half. Your tomahawk should look like this. Now what you want to do is fold. As you can see, there are 3 flaps here at the top. 1, 2, 3. what you want to do, the first flap here, fold it from, make a fold from this point to this point. So basically fold it in to the gap here as far as it will go. So like this. Now flip it over, do the same thing. So fold from this point to this point, fold this flap into the gap there. Yes. Now it should look, your tomahawk should look like this. What you want to do now is this flap, you want to fold it into the gap, but align the fold with this edge so that it looks like this and leaves you with a flat edge like this, so it's completely flat. This is your tomahawk. Now what you want to do is to take a piece of tape. This piece of tape is optional, but I would use it to make the tomahawk more durable. What you want to do is you want to take the piece of tape and put it right here. Make sure the flaps here that make the axe head are tucked in tightly under this flap. So put the tape where it is marked, right here. This is your tomahawk. Now this is a tomahawk made out of 4 pieces of paper. As you can see, there's a piece of tape here, and also because of if you fold tomahawks using more and more papers, the more papers you use, the more resistant the paper is to being folded. So what'll happen is it'll open up at the bottom and it won't fly well on the handle. So what you want to do is, if you use a lot of piece of paper, is put a piece of tape around the middle of the handle, a little bit more near the bottom. Now also, if you use 4 pieces of paper, it becomes more crucial for you to make the gap here between this edge and this crease here, because otherwise this flap will be left out from under this other flap here. This flap will not be covered by this flap as much, and it will not leave the tomahawk as strong. Now, with throwing, thing is, tomahawk will fly like this if you throw it like that. Fly like this if you throw it that way. So you want to throw it as straightforward as possible, so with the edge facing forwards. And also, if you fold the tomahawk out of 4 pieces of paper, you may want to flatten it under some dictionaries before you put the tape on it, so that it'll tape better and fly better later. Right, throwing.